Hi there, this is Dr. Evan Osar with the Institute for Integrative Health and Fitness Education. Welcome to this edition of Integrative Movement Insider. And this is part 2 of our 2-part series on the rotator cuff and the shoulder complex. In video number 1, so if you missed that, we post it on our website at iihfe.com, as well as on our YouTube channel, which is Fitness Education Seminars, as well as here on Facebook Live. We discussed the importance of having a process. You have to have a process of working with your clients. Otherwise, you're just guessing. You're just throwing some exercises at your client that you may have seen on the internet or you learned at a seminar, and you're just sort of assuming that they're going to work for your client and hoping that they work for your client. However, if you really want to differentiate yourself in the industry from all the other health and fitness professionals and really attract more individuals, that active aging population that will come to you and seek you out for your expertise because you have a specific process to help them specifically address their shoulder issues, then you need a process of how you assess your client. And we discussed in part 1 of the series why your assessment is so important. Because if we just look at our clients and we see this forward shoulder position, then we just assume that what they need is more, what your client needs more of is just retraction and depression. But I also shared with you that most of your clients do not have trouble once you teach them how to do it, retracting and or depressing. What they actually struggle with, even when you teach them retraction and depression, is they actually have trouble getting their arms overhead. And the more that you teach them retraction and depression, the more trouble they're going to have getting their arms overhead. So that's why I'm so happy that you're here joining me in this video series, because you will help so many clients. This is the exact same strategy we use with our own clients and patients here in our clinic that we teach as part of our certification courses. We have a weekend course coming up, the mastery course, where we take our integrative movement specialists, individuals have already been certified, and we teach them advanced skills. And this is the information we're going to review with them this weekend. So again, thank you for joining us here. And also, it's the same information I use to help my own shoulders. Rotator cuff tears, bilateral labral tears in both shoulders. Obviously, that's what bilateral means. However, it's very important to understand that I was taught all the same things from day 1 of chiropractic school, day 1 of every rehab course I took, day 1 of everything I read on the internet, to squeeze back and squeeze down. And I got extremely good at doing that and extremely strong at doing that, to the point where I could do pull-ups, 20 pull-ups with weights around my waist, 20 dips with no problems, weights around my waist. I got incredibly good. I could do entire stacks of lat pull downs. And that's when my shoulder problems just kept getting worse, because I didn't understand this concept, which is your clients struggle getting their arms up and overhead to get the scapula to wrap around the rib cage where it belongs, to properly position the shoulder and not create impingement syndromes. And that's why it's so important that you have your assessment process that helps you identify that strategy in your clients. So make sure you're assessing your clients. Now, once you've assessed your clients and you're like, hey, okay, they've got limited range of motion going overhead, which most of our clients will have, then we need to release the right structures and in the right manner. And that's why we love the Rolga, because this is the #1 tool we use in our clinic. And again, remember, it's just a tool. It's part of your overall process. It's not going to fix people's issues. It's the tool in your right hands of the right practitioner, which is you, as a health and fitness professional, because you'll know exactly how to use this actually wonderful tool. Because what we need to do for our clients is release between their scapula and their humerus and release the muscles that many of us have been taught to strengthen, specifically the lats, because the lats will pull the shoulder blades down and also tilt it forward when the scapular stabilizers are not developed appropriately. When we don't have optimal control around the shoulder complex, the lat will pull down and also pull the shoulder forward, and the more we try to strengthen it and retract and depress, the worse that position gets. So first, I'm gonna get down on the floor, demonstrate a quick and easy release you can do with your clients. So again, you've looked at range of motion, you've determined they've had limited range of motion. So what we're going to do is put the Rolga right in this groove here. So here's zone 1, here's zone 2, here's zone 3 of the Rolga. My arm will go right in zone 3. I'm gonna lie. We're always going to use the principles of the integrative movement system: align, breathe, control. So we want to make sure head and neck are aligned with thoracolpelvic cylinder. I'm not collapsing down, and I'm not just hanging out. I'm going to be real active. I'm going to push down lightly into the foam roller for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then reach up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see it from the side. So same idea. We're going to push down for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Maintain alignment. Reach for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'll do that for several repetitions. Usually we do 3 to 5 repetitions. And again, the goal is not to crush your client with this release. The goal is just to really release the restrictions between the scapula and the humerus to free up range of motion. And I did 2 reps. I'm going to recheck my range of motion. 2 reps and my range of motion is already better. So you don't need to crush your clients with release. Do just enough and make it very specific, and that's the beauty of having a process like the integrative movement system. Now you've done your release. The second part of your corrective exercise strategy is activation, because your body won't know what to do. The nervous system won't know let me start that again. It won't know what to do with the range of motion unless you train it the right way. One of the best patterns, one of our go-to corrective exercises for developing scapular control is the rope pull. And you'll see very specifically how I set myself up and how we perform the rope pull. So we'll always start with long spine as if the client's being pulled up from the backside of the head, neck, and thoracopelvic cylinder, keeping the thorax stacked in a line above the pelvis. I'm going to grab the rope like this. You can also use a resistance band. We like the rope is a little thicker, and it gives a client something to hold onto and not lose their grip. So from here, step back, maintaining alignment of the thoracopelvic cylinder in the shoulder complex. So it's not an over protraction, it's not an over retraction. It's aligned and controlled. We're going to do a small hinge, pull towards the shoulders. So essentially, I'm pulling from here, a narrow position, to a wider position, because ultimately we want to teach our clients how to get open and wide across their scapula, their shoulder complex, and maintain that open and wide position. So again, one more time, align and control that thoracopelvic cylinder, grab the rope, narrow grip or hands close together, thumbs up towards the ceiling, pull towards the shoulder, hold for a second, and release without retracting. So it's pull without protracting, without over retracting, and not release and over protract. So it's pull, control, release, control. Pull, control, release, control. An incredibly effective exercise. I'll slide around here. So it's the same idea here. Pull without over retracting and depressing. Keep the neck long, keep the neck relaxed. Pull and relax. And that way you teach the client how to use that range of motion you just helped them develop during the release component. Recheck the range of motion afterwards, and it should be equally as good, and it actually feels nice and free now because I taught my nervous system how to maintain that with using the right scapular control muscles, the right muscles around the scapula, so that way I maintain that nice scapular stability, because that's ultimately the process you want to take your clients through. Assess, release where your clients need the most specific release. In the case of rotator cuff and shoulder issues, it's oftentimes lats, teres, and the muscles underneath here. And it's also then teach them how to activate the right muscles around the scapula, serratus, upper lower traps, to develop that nice upward rotation and posterior tilt, just fancy words that mean putting the scapula in the right position, and then teach your client how to maintain that through their functional movement positions and patterns. In the next video, we'll talk more specifically about the rotator cuff and a little bit about the functional anatomy of the rotator cuff, because the reason we didn't start there is because we have to set up the shoulder position and the head, neck, and thorax position first. Then we can start to look at the rotator cuff specifically. Otherwise, what happens at the head, neck, and thorax will start to drive what happens at your rotator cuff. So thank you so much for joining me in this series. I know that this was a lot of information, but again, the important thing I want you to take home is the process. Use your assessments to identify your client's non-optimal and inefficient posture and movement habits. Use your corrective exercises to help them create more optimal and efficient posture and movement habits. And then help your clients work through the right progressions. We'll see you next time. This is Dr. Evan Osar with the Institute for Integrative Health and Fitness Education. I'll be back on Friday with more discussion about the rotator cuff. Make it a great day and get out there and empower your active aging population and be the resource for your current clients and your potential clients that need, want, and will seek you out. Take care.